Hi friends, I am excited. I'm saddened, but I'm excited because this is maybe the last in-cinema release for me here in Australia this year for a horror movie. Today I'm gonna go see Heretic. This has been the talk of the town since Hugh Grant was announced to be in an A24 horror movie that is meant to be pretty nuts. The movie starring Sophie Thatcher, Chloe East, and of course Hugh Grant is about two young religious women who are drawn into a game of cat and mouse with a strange man. I've been running out of the cinema every time this trailer has been coming up for the past 2 months. Tonight I'm going to a local premiere, but they are doing advanced screenings of this film, which is why I'm getting this video out to you straight away, because in Australia they are doing advanced screenings tomorrow. Otherwise, you'll have to wait till the 28th. In North America and some other countries, you'll be fine. The film is already playing. I'm just so glad that we got this sneak peek because I can't wait another minute, and especially for a film that seems so mysterious. I believe this film has a focus on Mormons. The two religious girls are Mormons door knocking. And I saw, if you're into reality TV, I saw the two Whitneys have been doing a press run for this, which I think is so funny, but it also gets me very curious of how intense and strange this film is because I have heard it is pretty intense. All I know is the blurb, Hugh Grant and blueberry pie candle, which A24 is already selling. Oh, and also the film is directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods. They are co-directors, co-writers that usually work together. They also did Haunt, but they've worked on The Boogeyman, Quiet Place, a bunch of horror or horror adjacent stuff. So I'm very keen to see their direction in this. What I love about A24, and I think some of you guys are the same, is that they let the directors and the writers just go for it. Take their vision and go all the way with it. I just really want it to be crazy. That's what I need. I need some escapism and I'm ready for it. So let's go check it out. I'm gonna let you know spoiler free whether it's worth your time, whether it's worth seeing in the cinema, and if it's a good way to finish up my horror viewing in cinema this year. The reason I'm saying that is because Nosferatu is not out in Australia till the 1st of January. I will cover it, but it'll be a couple days late. Not too bad. And I don't believe we're also getting Night Bitch either. Anyway, let's check if Hugh Grant is as sinister as I really do think he is. Let's go. By the way, I'm walking there today. Oh my god. Hey guys, I literally just walked in, getting back from Heretic. Honestly, I knew it was gonna be a little bit nutso, but I don't think I could have been prepared ever for that. That was a wild ride, and I'm so glad I get to talk to you guys about it because going in, this film is definitely not for everybody, which is, you know, the norm with A24. But I feel like this one's a little bit different because of the subject matter. This is what I would deem a truly religious horror. One of my favorite subgenres other than body horror is religious horror. I find religion very fascinating, and this really spoke to me in that regard. And I didn't know how much it would be about, you know, the Mormons coming there and anything to do with that, and what was gonna happen with this cat and mouse game. The movie is about two Mormon girls who going through the rounds, and they have to go and, you know, talk to people about their religion. And the next person on the list is Hugh Grant, who says he is interested in the Church of Latter-day Saints, and they knock on his door unbeknownst to what is inside. I want to say straight off the bat, I thought that either Hugh Grant or Chloe Thatcher would be the standout, mainly because I already know them. They're quite familiar to me, but I was totally wrong. Chloe East in this film is magnetic. Her emotional depth and the way that she shows, obviously, her reactions and just the way she presented her character with little to no dialogue. I mean, there are some dialogue heavy moments for sure, and we'll get into that in a sec, but all of the silence and the reactions and the moments and the mannerisms and every micro expression on her face, absolutely loved it. She was such a good pick for this film, especially being a movie that is about younger people within a religion, and it's just very interesting in that respect. The movie is a conversational piece. It's a philosophical film about religion, and a lot of the film is led by conversations and quite slow. I would say it is a true roller coaster film in the sense that it has flows and peaks, and sometimes it feels like those peaks should be the end of something and then we'll have another slow moment. So I do feel like the pacing of this film, it's not that it's bad, but it's really not the normal structure that will really pull someone through a horror film. It starts very slow, and yeah, there's just a few times that it really slows itself down, and it is not catering to the audience in that respect. It's not go, go, go at any point. I just really liked it for that. Although it is hard to watch from a frustrating, kind of aggravating point for Hugh Grant's character, it's meant to be like that. I really loved the set design for this film, all set within his house. And the more that reveals, the more interesting it becomes, kind of like the film. It's really keeps you in a small room at the start, and as things progress, it changes, and that really reflects what the set design is like. And just seeing little glimmers of hints and clues and puzzle pieces along the way, it just really matched the script, and I thought that was very clever to have a visual representation of what was going on psychologically for these people. Along with the setting, it has to be said, the lighting of this film is beautiful. It is all set in a dark, gloomy atmosphere, a lot of playing with actual lighting within the set and within, in front of the camera on set. Lamps, candles, it works with the storyline, but it all just encompasses this kind of spooky, haunted feel, which is just an addition to the psychological horror. The film does have some gore. It is a horror film. You really do have to stick with the start, and just be warned, it is a slow beginning. But if you are into films, religious horror films, and you like challenges, because this film is challenging in every respect of the word, I think you'll enjoy this one. It really scratched an itch for me personally, because I'm very much into this subject matter, and I think that it was a really interesting perspective of how it's been shown and how it's been explored. The idea of this man preying on these younger women, it just gives a whole new level to everything that happens. The film felt at times exceptionally cruel, and that is what is frustrating about it to me. I really, really felt for it. It really got me. The way the girls are written is so interesting, where you don't have to know anything about them, and your assumptions of them and Hugh Grant's character is enough. It's not a personal story by any means. It's very detached, and I just don't think there's anything like that I've seen recently. A lot of horror has been about personal stories and following a character through that arc, and even if this film does that in its own way, it doesn't feel so personal, but yet a symbolic message and a symbolic story. But it also is quite a simple story in saying all of that. There is a lot that's going on philosophically and with conversation, but it is a very simple setting and very simple premise, and it is one of those horror films that you don't know why it hasn't been done before. It's so genius in its premise and the setup. You watch it and it clicks. It just really works with the horror genre, and I don't know why it hasn't been explored in this way before. I also heard that Sophie Thatcher and Chloe East did grow up in the Mormon church, so they were able to give background information and really shape their characters around that. That may be why I feel like both their performances are fantastic, but Chloe East really embodies that. They're no longer Mormons, but I think that it was a really interesting approach, and probably the best way you could have gone into it. It's really interesting seeing the reaction in a cinema here, because Australia is not as religious as some other countries. As of the census in 2021, 38% of Australians are not religious, so I'd be interested to see how other people view the film. I feel like there's so many different ways to break it down. Overall, I really enjoyed this theming and I'm very much into this conversation, so it worked really well for me personally. But I do want to emphasize that it is a slower film, and if you aren't interested in the religious themes, it probably is not for you. Hugh Grant is haunting. There is some moments I wish I could say, but I just don't want to spoil it. But there's some just really interesting one-liners in this film that are creepy, and if you got to see Hugh Grant get creepy once in a while, I hope this isn't his last horror film. I very much enjoyed the direction. I'm very impressed with the partnership with these directors, writers, and A24. I hope that Scott Beck and Brian Woods get more opportunities to really shine and show their stylization with independent film companies. I think that they have something important to say and they found a very interesting subject matter for this film. The stylization was dark and creepy and the psychological aspect of it was spot on, so I would love to see more psychological horror films, whether that be religious or not, from them. I'm gonna give this film an 8 out of 10. I think the extra point for me is the personal attachment I have to the subject matter. I'm really keen to see what you guys think about it. I do think it's worth seeing it in the cinema. It has some very shocking moments and I gasped several times, hand over the mouth, didn't see things coming. Because of the roller coaster structure, it really caught me off guard when it was peaking. For originality, I'm going to give it a 8. I think it's a highly original film. Even though it seems so obvious, I can't really name another film that is philosophical in the same kind of sense, with the same challenges, let's say. And for scares, I think the film was more shocking and just a tiny bit gory than scary. There is some moments though, I don't know, maybe a 7 actually. Yeah, now I'm thinking about it, there's definitely some moments with some surprising elements that's very creepy, and I wonder where it's gonna land in my top 10. I don't know. I'll have to go see it again probably, since it's the last big horror release that I'll get. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget, I did do a list of what you can watch online, streaming services, streaming platforms this month. And I have done a video of everything I watched in October. It is packed with recommendations. I watched 48 films last month. So if you want to check out some recommendations, check them out here. And I'll talk to you guys very soon. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye, friends.